Welcome to the Vitality Cast webinar sponsored by the Vitality Depot. I'm Dr. Dan Davidson, a chiropractor, your host today, and we have a very timely topic, why it pays to upgrade to digital x-ray for your chiropractic office. Myself, I've been a chiropractor for 26 years, and I've used, I started off with the chemicals and the dipping them in, and then had an automatic processor, and these digital x-ray systems are new. It's cutting-edge technology. The good news is that it's now affordable to upgrade to digital x-ray, and a great way to do that is to use your existing x-ray machine. We have today Tom Buick, the president and founder of EB Medical Systems, and he has been a pioneer in the digital imaging world since 1983, and we're excited about having you on the webinar today, Tom. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much.
We
today,
chiropractic. Yeah, go ahead, and we want to start into the presentation and let people know some great solutions for them.
Okay. Well, it's very honored to me to be able to be invited to discuss digital imaging with the chiropractic community here in the United States. As Dr. Dan was saying, we've been doing this since 1983, and that's all we do is digital imaging. So we know what we're doing. We've got hundreds and hundreds of not only chiropractors, orthopedic surgeons, but also a large portion of our business is the veterinary market. So digital imaging is pretty much our life. Now, what I'd like to do today is just kind of talk very basic, give you some background information, and just in case you're not aware of what's available, because there's a lot of people out here selling digital imaging. You got to be very careful, and you got to know what they're selling you when they're selling it to you. Price is very important, but believe me, be very careful. Price is not the only thing you need to look at, because there are some very, very good products out there that sell for very little money, but there are products out there that sell for very little money that aren't worth the money that you end up spending for it. There's two types of technology, actually three types of technology. There's CR, and then there's DR CCD, and DR flat panel. Today we're going to talk to you about two. One is CR. CR with your existing x-ray equipment. If you're not happy with the x-ray that you're getting now with film, you probably should have the x-ray machine evaluated to see if it's capable of putting out quality x-rays. If it is, then this product can work with that. We replace your cassettes with our cassettes in this scanner. The cassette is placed just like you would for a typical x-ray. Once you take the x-ray, you take our cassette over to our scanner, and you'll see this black object sticking out the front of the scanner. That is our cassette. It goes in about 2.5 inches into the scanner, and then there's a couple arms that grab hold of the screen that's inside of the cassette. There's no rollers or anything that can wear out the cassettes, or I'm sorry, not cassettes, the imaging plate. The imaging plate is actually drawn into the scanner. At the very beginning of the scanner, there's a fiber optic bundle which captures information, and it's picked up by a laser that's spinning around inside of there. Very sophisticated device, very small, 5 inches tall, 28 inches long, about 18 inches wide. Sits on a countertop, or there's a wall mounting bracket. You can mount it to the wall. You have zero floor space eaten up when you do that. Most customers, that's what they're doing, mounting it to the wall because it's totally out of the way. You can put the monitor next to it, above it, alongside of it, whatever you want to do. But the plate is drawn into the scanner. The information on the plate is scanned. Once it is totally scanned, it is erased, and then the plate is then pushed back into the cassette holder. Once that happens, then the information is transferred to the computer. The product comes in 20, 40, 60, and 80 plates per hour, and we'll talk about that near the end of the presentation here. But once that is taken, you can put another cassette in and go through the same process. So as quick as the processing mode goes on, that's how quick you can take. You can actually take many x-rays one right after another if you have extra plates, but you can only put one plate in at a time. It takes a period of time depending on the speed in which the scanner that you purchased. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Cutting edge digital quality. You get crisp, clean images in record time. Processing time, we can go up to 80 plates per hour. We can go as low as 20 plates per hour. So it depends on your clinic. How many x-rays do you take? How much time do you have on your hands? How many doctors are there? We put these in clinics that have 8 doctors, and at the end of the day, they're taking literally almost 100 patients a day in this one clinic. The 80 plates per hour fulfills that needs. We've also put them in at 20 plates per hour. 20 plates per hour takes about 3.5 minutes from start to finish. In a small clinic, they can afford that. A busy clinic could not, so you would want a faster one. The advantage is why we have such good quality images. This is a 16-bit system. 16 bits of information is transferred. What that means is this is 65,000 shades of gray. Anytime a radiologist looks at an x-ray, he wants to see shades of gray. That means he can manipulate the image. He can adjust it up and down, brightness, contrast, darkness, lightness. That is one of the key features of digital imaging. If the image isn't quite perfect, you can make it perfect. But you have to have the proper bits of information. Most companies will sell you a 14-bit. They throw away some of the information. By the time it gets to the computer, you're only dealing with 4,096 shades of gray. We're transferring almost a full 65,000 shades of gray. No one else in the industry does that except in the very expensive CCD and flat panel system. Every system comes with a software. The software offers, as I said earlier, viewing, zooming, enhancements, measurements, angles, line measurements. You can archive the images. You can send the images to servers. You can send images to other exam rooms. You can send it to radiologists. Anything you want to do with this can happen, just like all the big guys. Everything is capable of being done. It's a matter of how you want to do it, how much money you want to spend. Our goal is to try to sell you a product that does the job for the least amount of money. So we work with you. We show you the shortcuts, how you can save money rather than. Our goal is not to go out there and try to build a Taj Mahal network so you've got the best in the West. You need something that fits your needs and nothing more, and we can do that. We do not do networking, but we advise networking. We attach to your network. We assist your networking people, and this is all included in the original price. There's no extra charge for any of this. All right, let's go to the next slide. Cutting-edge digital quality, again, crisp, clean images in record time, 16 bits, 65,000 shades of gray. The scanner provides one-step integration scanning, erasing, and automatic cassettes and plate handling. So you never touch the plate. No one ever touches it, so you don't get grease and dirt. You don't bend them. They don't crack. You should be able to get around 900,000 images off of each plate. Now, there is a tool that you can pull the plate out, so if you get any dust or dirt or anything on it, and we advise how to clean them. Doesn't have to happen every week or anything like that. It's just when you see a little dot or something show up on the x-ray once in a while. Then you pull the plate out. You use plain water with a cloth that has no lid on it. And it's very simple, very, very easy to do. And this is all covered in part of the training and installation. Okay, the last slide we want to talk about Fire CR is it is upgradable. As I mentioned earlier, you can buy a 20 plates per hour, you can buy a 40 plates per hour, a 60 plates per hour, or an 80 plates per hour. You can buy 14 by 17 cassettes, you can buy 10 by 12 and other sizes if necessary. Most chiropractic clinics that we're selling these to are purchasing usually just a couple 14 by 17s. There is one that is 10 by 12 that also will enable you to do an 8 by 10, and then there are custom sizes available if necessary. But most people are using 14 by 17s. You can always colonnade down to a smaller size, but you cannot go up to a larger size. You can only deal with what the IP plate that's inside the cassette is. Okay. Now the advantage to this product, we designed this in such a way that just about anybody can afford it. If you're not taking many x-rays, you buy 20 plates per hour. If you want a CD burner, you can buy the CD burner. If you don't have to buy it. If you want a touchscreen computer, you can buy that. If you want a regular computer and monitor with a lot of storage and where we can make it a server, you can buy that. If you want to buy a laptop, you can purchase that. But the biggest advantage is if you didn't buy this in the beginning, you can always go from a 20 to a 40, or a 40 to an 80, or a 60 to an 80. Whatever you want to do is upgradable. In the front of the scanner, there's a little plate that fits up underneath. And there's little RF chips that are attached to this plate. If we sold you a 20 plate per hour, we would give you one chip. If it had a CD burner, it would have a CD burner chip on there. If it wanted the 40, there would be 2 chips, or a 60 would be 3 chips, and 80 would be 4 chips plus a CCD. Then, one thing we haven't mentioned, we also have the capability of doing stitching. That is an option that can be added at the time you purchase it or any time in the future, and that is nothing but another little chip that fits on there. This is sent to you. There is absolutely nothing except put your finger up underneath the front of the Fire scanner, pull this plate out. We give you a little chip which has adhesive on the back, and instruction is where to put it on this plate, put it back in, and now you've just done an upgrade. Nobody else in the industry does this. Nobody. Some people, you have to send it back to the factory to do this. These are some of the things we looked at when we decided to develop something like this. Start out entry level. As you get busier, so you take on a partner, now you're doing twice as many. Maybe you want to go from a 20 to a 40. You buy a little chip, put it on there, and now you got a 40. You don't have to go out and buy a new system. You don't have to send it back to the factory or anything like that. There's also service warranties that you can purchase if you wish. Something happens, it can be fixed on site. They have an exchange program that we can send you a loaner out, and you send your other back to us to be repaired. So far, our situations have been all software related. The product has been very reliable. It's very simple to repair. We do all the installs. We have a national installing company that we own ourselves, so we do all the installs for our dealers. If there's something goes wrong, we always have a local dealer that we can call in to replace the part if necessary. We ask you to put a internet line into the room where the computer is going to be, so we can remotely get in there and check everything out and see what the problem is. A lot of times we can adjust the software and solve the problem. I would say so far it's probably been 95, 96% of the time that's been the problem. We don't charge anything for this service. This is part of our service we've been providing for years. We don't charge for telephone calls. We don't charge for upgrading software. Any software upgrades you get free of charge for the life of the product to the original owner.
Tom,
Any questions about the FireCR?
Yeah. Well, there are a few questions, and I'll just also encourage our attendees, if you have any additional questions, the second half here, please just type them in the questions panel on the sidebar of your webinar interface there. Yeah, there was a question about how does this compare, like the average costs of film and chemicals and upkeep and cleaning and labor. You know, I know you were sharing with me before that with your entry-level Fire CR20, a lease payment can be pretty much at about what a lot of offices are spending. I know we spend $300 to $350 a month on film, chemicals, cleaning, you know, with the service, and that's about a lease payment for kind of the entry-level Fire CR20, right? Or it can be close to that. I mean,
very close to that. Very close to that. But the thing you don't normally include, and this is not only you, doctor, but other doctors, you're not including. You're just including the obvious cost.
Okay.
The real cost is how many retakes do you take?
Oh, that's a good point.
To get a good image.
Oh, I'm doing that all the time, you know.
Absolutely. It happens in every clinic that I've ever been in. Retakes cost you a lot of money. Now, there was a study done about 2.5 years ago that said the average cost of taking an X-ray is $12.50. Now, $12.50 covers everything you mentioned, but it also covers depreciation on the machine. How about the labor of the factor of whoever's doing the X-rays?
Right.
How about the floor space that your X-ray department takes up? All these things were put into this contract or into this study, and they're saying the national average cost to take an X-ray is $12.50.
Okay.
Now, I've been told by chiropractors, well, we only get $25 or $30 an X-ray. If you take one extra X-ray to get a good one, you now have broken even. On digital imaging,
right?
You make an adjustment, you can adjust the image. You don't have to take another one.
You know, I came in the office actually last week, and we took an X-ray, and it was poor quality. And then we checked, and we realized, well, we need to, you know, change out the developer. So we had to take the whole series again. And then 2 weeks before that, I think it was the first time we met, Tom, I shared with you that one of my new staff in the closing procedures turned the wrong button, and instead of the water, she drained out all the fixer. You know, it's just like, you know, film and chemical kind of nightmare stories, you know. Literally, I could see my money going down the drain, you know.
How about the story about I just got a brand new box of film and a new associate open it up and say, what's in here? There goes 100 sheets of film down the drain with your chemistry.
Hey, I've done that myself too. The docs do it also, but yeah, there's a lot of associated costs. And so what's exciting to me is that now for the first time, and I'll be honest, when I've seen digital X-ray systems in the last several years, I've kind of looked at the price tag like, whoa, okay, that's not going to be anytime soon for me. But now this is a price point that is affordable for chiropractors to get entry. And you can use your own X-ray and Bucky system. You're just really changing out the cassette with this Fire CR plate, right?
That's correct. And like I said earlier, you can start out small and build it up as your practice volume increases. Like I said, we put this in this one clinic where I think there were 7 or 8 doctors. The doctor that owns the place told me that he estimated this thing would be paid for in 2.5 months.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
You know, the other thing is I don't have enough cassettes in my office to do a full cervical Davis series. And so it's just like, oh, you know, we got to go and develop them and bring them back. It just, and I find out I take less X-rays sometimes. I mean, I shouldn't be doing it, but I think with digital, I would, in knowing and having confidence in the quality and knowing I could do more, I think I would probably, you know, service my patients better.
Well, we sold a system to a doctor up in Cumberland, Maryland here a couple of years ago, and he told me that his personal opinion is all his colleagues are missing the revenue producing that X-ray can make because they don't think about the additional X-rays you can take on follow-up. He used an example one time that he had been taking care of this lady for a few weeks, and she came in. She had a bandage on her arm. And he said, "What happened?" She said, "Oh, I fell down over the weekend and hurt my wrist." And he says, "Do you want me to take an X-ray and see if there's anything broken or anything there?" She said, "Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah, that would be a good idea." That's, in all honesty, what word do I want to use? That is a reason to take an X-ray. This person was under medical care, and how many times do you do that? Most
well, we should be doing, yeah.
Concentrate on the spine. They don't think of these other things. He's had my machine for, I think it's going on 3 years now. Went from 0 X-ray to X-ray. He's hired 2 X-ray techs. He doesn't take X-rays at all. He's trained the X-ray techs to be chiropractic associates.
Right.
So they're doing the work when they're not taking X-rays. And he's getting X-rays that are unbelievable. People that come there and see our system say, "Wow, I can't believe this." Quality is what we guarantee our customers when we sell them a product. Fire CR puts out as good of X-ray as any CR product on the market in the price range that it's in. There are much, much more expensive CR systems selling for $40, $50, all the way up to close to $120,000, and those are hospital-based systems. But the technology here is diagnostic. We back it up with 100% guarantee. We bring it to your facility. We install it. We guarantee you we're going to get good images. If the images aren't good, we'll find out why they're not. I just did a demonstration for one of my other dealers up in Philadelphia last week, and they wanted to test this in their facility before we took it to a customer. While the X-ray portable X-ray machine that we were using wasn't tracking right, and they had a competitive product there that they've sold in the past. Customers are complaining about, so they're looking at the Fire CR. We were both getting the same type of images off of this X-ray machine. I said, you know, there's nothing wrong with these scanners. There's something wrong with this. We put the tools that they had onto the machine, and it wasn't tracking. If it said 70, it was shooting 77.
Okay.
Kind
of helps them diagnose that.
Yeah, sure. And there's ways that you can check your X-ray machine to find out if it's capable of producing the quality X-ray dosage that the machine is saying it's putting on, and it should be checked periodically. A lot of times it's not.
Well, we've got about 10 more minutes here in the webinar, and the Fire CR is, again, a very affordable solution to get in on the digital revolution, and everything's going that way. I know you shared with me, Tom, that the average film costs have gone up this last year 50% because less people are using it, so they're having to increase the pricing. So now's the time, I mean, to get into digital technology. Not only do you have the Fire CR, but you have the Trinity system. And in the last few minutes here, maybe you could close out and share that with his more of a complete system. And I will, again, encourage if anyone has any specific questions, please type them in the sidebar panel.
Go ahead and switch to the next slide, would you, if you would, please?
Yeah.
All right. This is the more expensive system that we sell. We sell this to chiropractors, orthopedic surgeons, imaging centers, veterinarians, all types of practices. What this is a Bucky stand with a CCD/DR system, which means that you take an X-ray, this captures the image, sends it to the computer in 6 seconds, versus the Fire CR, which takes minutes 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, whatever system that you buy. Okay. Here you can use your existing X-ray equipment also and just buy the detector and Bucky stand. Or we can sell you a complete X-ray room, generator, and so on and so on and so on. I just want to show you a couple of slides to show you the different technology. The CCD, if you're not aware, CCD is something that is used in photography and in digital cameras. We buy a CCD chip, a scientific grade chip, and we have a 9 or 16 megapixel, depending on who we're selling it to and what quality of resolution that they require. CCD chips capture the image, do the same thing that I was talking about in the plates on the Fire CR. Captures that image and sends it to the computer, and the computer processes it in 6 seconds. This little drawing here is an engineer drawing showing what happens. You see the arrow pointing down through the X-ray path. You put the patient on top of the table or standing if we're doing chiropractic work. The X-ray goes through the patient. There's protective transparent plastic cover on top of the simulating screen. We also use simulating screen here. It's different. It creates, this is very similar to what you have in the cassettes, where the photons out of the X-ray excites it and exposes the film wall. This excites it, and you'd see, for instance, if you're doing a hand, you'd see the outline of the hand. It would come down into this mirror, which is optically correct positioned, so there's no distortion. That would bounce off of this mirror to the left through a series of 38 lenses into a CCD chip. Now, what I'm showing you here is why this is more expensive than this other device we were talking about. This chip alone cost us about $9,000 plus the lenses. This is all hermetically sealed in a lead-lined container, and you'll notice that it's out of the X-ray beam, so there's no damage can be done to the electronics. There is flat panel technology, which is the other DR product, which sits directly in front of the X-ray beam, and X-ray just bombards it over a period of time. Those things are going to go bad. When they go bad, they can't be repaired because they're all hermetically sealed. CCD can be repaired because this is similar to what technology you have on buildings for security, like you know, all kinds of stoplight. The police are looking at you all the time. Same basic technology, but at a much higher level of quality of chips, scientific grade chips, and they're all not color chips. These are black and white. So you're getting the best quality image you'll ever get. And I would put a CCD up against any digital system that's out there. Spec for spec, quality for quality, are about the same. As I said, let's go to the next slide. We have a 9 megapixel and a 16. We use a single micro lens. The chip is embedded inside of a glass container. We inject nitrogen in there because we cool this chip down to minus 20 degrees centigrade. So there's an electronic device, cooling device, that cools it down. That prevents any moisture or anything forming around the electronics, so nothing gets shorted out. So the detector is not inside the primary beam. The fill factor is about 93%. The other 7% is created with software. You got 3.6 line pairs, which is a testing device that we use to see what the resolution of the system is. We have that's on a 9 megapixel, 4.6 line pairs for a 16, and then your pixel pitch is 140 microns. The secret to why our system works much, much better than most systems on the market is the next slide. This is called a micro lens. You'll see the little gray area, those two little humps there. That is a cross-sectional slice of the chip with the electron beam microscope. What this is we have, or not we, but Kodak has come up with a way of putting a micro lens on top of every pixel. So if we have a 9 megapixel system, we get 9 million micro lenses. And the drawing to the left shows you the X-ray beam coming down into the lens and how the lens takes this and focuses all that information directly on top of each pixel. So you lose very, very little information. You get a better resolution. You get more light to the chip, which means you can reduce your dosage to the patient by about 30 to 40%. Again, nobody else does that. I'm going to close with the last slide. And this is what I ask all customers to really think about when they're looking at digital. First of all, look at the images. Don't be satisfied with one or two. If the person that's showing you images can't show you hundreds of images, those are probably the best that they've ever gotten. So look at the images. Are they diagnostic? The second thing you need to do is look at the cost. Does that fit your budget? If it doesn't fit your budget, you're not going to do anything. But the most important factor in digital is reliability and who's going to take care of it when it goes bad, because everything does go bad. If something happens to our product, we have local people that come to you immediately. We can get something to you within 24 hours as a loaner if you sign up for our loaner program. We come with every system. We do the installation. We do the training. Even though you're buying this from one of our dealers, we come with the system. Myself, as the president of the company, I give every customer a 100% guaranteed satisfaction. My guys come in and put this system in your clinic, and they cannot produce quality images. They have the right to pull it out and give you 100% of your money back. We've never done that. I hope I never do, but if I have to, I will. We stand behind our product. We have 24 hours, 7 days a week customer service. We have remote diagnosis. We do a lot of our training and software upgrades remotely. We're a digital company. We know what we're talking about. Literally, we've got thousands of these systems installed, not only here in the United States, but around the world. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Yes, we do have a question here. Doctor would like to know what kind of the price range is for the Fire CR at the different levels. Like you mentioned that the entry level is 20, you can go 40, 60, 80. Maybe you can just go over just kind of general price ranges for that.
Well, to give you an idea, the list price for a 20, this is a scanner and the software, is $17,260. That comes with 2 plates. Then you have a choice of 3 different computers. The main computer that we typically sell is an all-in-one computer with touchscreen. That's $2,400, and now we're at $19,660. The only other thing that you have, well, I wouldn't say you have to, but most people put on is a CD burner software, which is DICOM, so you can send it to a DICOM printer also. That's $790. So we're talking $17,260, $2,400. It's $19,660 plus $700, and that's say $800.
Just a little over $20,000.
Just a little over 20. All the prices stay the same except the scanner. The scanner goes from, with the software, goes from $17,260 to a 40, it's $19,390. A 60 is $21,525, and an 80 is $23. So if you buy the best available, you're talking under $26,000.
That would be for the 80.
Yes, the 80. Most people are buying the 40. We have sold a few 20s to some customers who take very few x-rays. But if you're doing any volume at all, I would recommend looking seriously at it. 40, I think you'd be happier with it. But doesn't mean you have to buy. You can try the 20, and if it doesn't work, you can always upgrade. There's a capability of upgrading anytime you want to in the future.
Okay. And, you know, again, the pricing for digital x-ray systems have been certainly a lot more than that when you look at it. When I looked at this myself even, and so wait a second, I can use my existing x-ray machine, my existing Bucky, and get into digital x-ray at a you know, nice entry level and then be on the cutting edge with digital technology, with clinical excellence, with my films. But looking at the costs of film, chemicals, and what we talked about before, I know for my office we have a larger room for our dark room that we're considering upgrading your product here, Tom. Is that it's just like, wait a second, I could have a whole other consultation room or a rehab room if I didn't have to have a dark room.
Or a storage room.
Exactly. So a lot of things to look at. The wonderful thing I like about your products, you've got the Fire CR, then you've got where you can add the Bucky with the CCD, or you can get the complete X-ray. So really at all levels, you're there with your products to service anyone at any level. And you've been doing this since 1983. And so you've got a great track record. And the Vitality Depot is a nationwide distributor with EB Medical X-ray. And as you mentioned before, Tom, you have your own nationwide installation company. So anywhere in the U.S. You can install, service. I would encourage, if you have more questions, to call the Vitality Depot at 866-941-8867. Our website is thevitalitydepot.com. Tom, we really appreciate you sharing the information today. That this is an exciting product, and I'm excited that it's going to be more affordable, entry level for docs, and it's going to help us, really get to the next level as far as our clinical excellence.
I'd like to add one last thing. Digital imaging typically does not cost you anything. If you're taking enough X-rays and charging the normal prices that typical chiropractors are making, it doesn't cost you money, it makes you money. Saves you money. The chemistry and so on is one of the savings, but the big savings is labor and the lack of having to take retakes. Primarily, the only time you're going to take retakes is if the patient's moved or if you mispositioned the patient. We've done studies over the years where somebody says, oh, I can't afford this, and then we go in and we ask questions and put this in a little software package we have, and it says, this is what you should be charging, here's what you are charging on film, here's what it is on digital. Digital always wins out. If you're only taking, 1 or 2 or 3 patients a week, the Fire CR works out excellent for those people. As you get into more volume, I have one doctor I sold a CCD product to down in Atlanta, Georgia, Dr. Sparling down there. He was going to build an addition onto his building. And I told him, put this in, you won't need to do this. He put this in, it'll be, I think it was just 2 or 3 years this past August. He says, Tom, we're taking every patient that comes in here every day. We used to stay open, the X-ray department stayed open to 7 o'clock at night. We leave at 5. We were done taking X-rays before then. The image quality is great. We hardly ever take an X-ray. The dosage is going down to the patient. He said, this thing does nothing but make me money. It saves me time, which I don't even consider in my equation. It saves me money because everybody has a station. I can go to any room in the building and see the patient's images that I want to see. I don't have to run back to the X-ray room. I don't have to wait for somebody to bring it to me. I don't have to wait. We have the system set up. The patient goes in. They take the initial workup. They take 7 X-rays. They charge $25 per X-ray. Again, this is one of the customers I was telling you about that paid for this thing in about 2.5 months. 110 patients a day. A lot of X-rays.
Well, that's a great way to end. I think there'll be more and more chiropractors that are going to be joining the digital revolution. I'm a photographer myself, and there used to be a time when everyone used film. And like I said, for X-ray film, I used to do the hand dipping. And then everything's gone digital now with kind of digital photography. Well, everything's going digital with X-ray. We've talked about the benefits. So I'm glad that there's some affordable solutions where the chiropractors can get started. Again, Tom, thanks so much. We're here to answer any questions you might have at the Vitality Depot. And remember that you can always view the archives of any webinar. We've been doing these Wednesday weekly webinars at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you need to do is to keep up with things is go to the vitalitycast.com, C-A-S-T.com, and we have all our archive webinars as well as our upcoming webinars. Tom, we're going to sneak in one last question here. Someone just asked what the starting point for the CCD unit is for the possibly the Bucky system and then your full system. If you could maybe just...
If you're doing a retrofit, in other words, just replacing the film using your existing X-ray, you're talking about in the mid to high 40s and goes with a full room and everything, you're talking in the low 60s.
Now, when you say retrofit, you're using still your X-ray unit, but you're
using your existing X-ray,
right?
Yeah, X-ray machine generator and everything stays there. We just replace the Bucky stand. The reason we replace the Bucky stand is because this detector weighs about 125 pounds. Most Bucky stands don't have enough counterbalance weights to offset that weight, so we have to provide a new one with it. You're only talking, it's only about a $1,300 object, so it's not adding that much to the price. This way you've got something that's built so it counterweights, it goes up and down very easily, and has locks in it, electronic locks and so on. So we've done a lot of those over the years. I don't know how many hundreds of those we've got installed in clinics around the world. But the product, this is the product that everybody, when I go to chiropractic shows and say, have you done anything digital, I hear, oh, I can't afford it. I said, what do you mean? I can't afford something $50,000. This product used to sell upwards closer to $100,000. That's how much prices have come down. We still sell a lot of them. The product is unbelievable as far as quality and speed, and that's where this has been. A small practice, FireCR is what you seriously look at. It serves the purpose, gives you good quality X-rays, takes a little bit longer because of the waiting. You're eliminating the processor and chemistry is all you're doing. You're still doing everything else the same way you're doing it today. When you go with the CCD, you are eliminating the processor, eliminating the cassettes. You take the X-ray, 6 seconds, it's on the computer. That's simple.
Wow. So that's a lot quicker, and that's going to really save time, isn't it?
And there are some quote DR products out there that claim to be DR products that gets the image up on the screen itself for a lot less money. You all know who they are. I won't mention any names, but I can give you names of doctors who have purchased them. They couldn't get a lateral spine if their life depended on it because the product doesn't have the resolution that's necessary to do that. Both of these products have it. You will be happy with it, I guarantee you.
You know, last thing I'll mention, Tom, is that, again, I'm a photographer, so when I take a picture, I put it in Adobe Photoshop or Lightroom, and I can tweak it, so to speak, adjust the contrast, black and white, the lighting. That's the other thing about digital, as you said, you have the 65,000 shades of gray, and afterwards, you have so much more flexibility compared to plain film, don't you?
Well, everybody talks about resolution. Resolution is important, but it's one factor in digital imaging. You have resolution, quantum efficiency, dynamic range, blah, blah, blah down the road. We can get very technical if we have to, but the dynamic range is very important. When you adjust an image, on most of my competitors, you take the mouse and try to brighten it or darken it, it'll turn black instantly or turn light instantly because they don't have enough dynamic range. They don't have enough grayscale. Radiologists want to see every little detail. If you've got 16,000, 65,000 shades of gray, the radiologists love it because they can sit there and adjust this thing and see. I've stood behind them and they're seeing stuff that I don't know if they're making it up in their own minds, but they're seeing stuff that I can't see because they've got the dynamic range. It's so important.
Okay, and so your systems, depending on what level, that include the software to be able to do things like that, right?
Every digital system should have this. If they don't buy it because It's part of the system. DICOM is part of it. You should never have to pay extra for any of this. It's all included.
Very briefly just say what DICOM is? That was is something that maybe not everyone understands, that it's a universal standard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a universal standard that was developed by a human radiologist probably 30 years ago, maybe a little longer. When computers started becoming available, they wanted to see from one spot to another. So they developed this committee called the DICOM, Digital Imaging Communications. And this is an international standards, and there's many facets of it. If you have an acquisition station, which is what we are, we're acquiring the images. We have DICOM acquire, and we have DICOM send, and DICOM print, and DICOM work list. In other words, these are the things we can do with our DICOM. Now, if you're on the other end, and you're a radiologist, and I'm going to send my images to you, you must have software called DICOM receive. And then you can adjust these images. If you don't have that, in these systems that we sell, you can burn a CD, and you can burn software onto that CD that included with the CD. When you send it to somebody, all they do is plug it in to another computer, and they've got all the tools there to adjust the image. But 99.9%, 999% of the radiologists already have that software.
Right.
The person that you're sending software to must have, or sending images to, must have a DICOM receiving software. A printer has to be a DICOM printer. It's got to have software in it specifically, because it's not only the image, it's all the information about the image, the name of the patient, all this, the header, and all this goes along.
Sure.
Well, and if you take a JPEG and send a JPEG off, all that is a snapshot. It's a photograph of the image. You can't do a thing with it.
Well, and so just to kind of put a bow around this, you were talking about this CD burner that you can add to the FireCR and others, and you mentioned it was what, $600-700. That's of course a lot more than your typical CD burner for your computer, but it's DICOM compatible, right?
That's correct. That's
so
correct. It's got
you're going to be able to send that out.
Burning.
Right.
It has the capabilities of burning DICOM software into the CD.
Right, and so you're going to be able to share that with a radiologist or other health medical professionals.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
well,
correct.
Tom, I'll tell you what, we went a little over here, but you're just a wealth of information, and this is exciting to share. Thank you again for being our guest. I'm sure we'll have you on in the future again, and then we'll keep learning more about the digital X-ray technology.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for all who attended, and remember to keep checking our weekly webinars, vitalitycast.com, sponsored by the vitalitydepot.com. Thanks so much, and have a great day.